Hi, this is Ron Finkelstein, and today we're going to talk about the 6 questions your prospects want you to answer before they buy from you. But before we get into those 6 questions, we're going to talk a little bit about how they came about. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can use them, and we're going to talk about why they're important. So let's go ahead and get started. The 6 questions were initially developed about 10 years ago when I was meeting with a financial planner as part of my networking. And as I sat down with him, I asked him this simple question. I said, You obviously wanted to meet with me because you either wanted my money or you wanted into the Rolodex of people I know. I said, before I can understand whether I can work with you or whether or not there's somebody I can introduce you to, I need to ask you some questions. And there were 3 questions I asked him. And the first one was, who's your ideal customer? And he couldn't answer it. I said, okay. And I said, then why do people buy from you? And he couldn't answer that. And I said, okay, what outcomes do people experience when they work with you? And again, same answer. He couldn't answer that. And then I asked him, I said, are you looking for day traders? Are you looking for people buy and hold? Are you looking for young people that you can grow? Are you looking for older people that are more established? Can you do just mutual funds? Do you do stocks? Do you manage portfolios? And all those kind of questions really didn't get answered to my interest, so to speak, to see if I could work with him. And that was the beginning of those 6 questions. And what I came to realize is that when those 6 questions are answered, what you can do is you can use them for creating your sales presentation. You can use them for your social media plan. You can use them to understand who your ideal customer is. You can understand why people want to buy from you, so you know the right people you want to spend time with. You can use the information that you create for ads and websites and brochures and flyers, your 30-second commercial, your 2-minute presentation, and so on. And the 6 questions is, from my perspective, the beginning of the sales process. This is where sales actually start. So why are these questions important? Let's take a good hard look at this, because this is probably the most important part of this particular module. The challenge we have today is there's so much rapid and accelerated pace of change that people just don't know who to trust. There's $83,000, for example, that changes hands every minute on the internet financially. There's hundreds of thousands of logins. Some studies even suggest there's so many videos uploaded to YouTube in 1 minute that it would take 5 years to watch them all. The result of that is, because of this information overload, is the information that we're getting current? Is it reasonable? Is the person presenting it an expert in their field? Is it obsolete? People just don't know what to do because of that information overload. The bottom line is they just don't know who to trust. Let me further support that. There was a study done by Watson Wyatt. When I read this study, it was quite surprising to me, because Watson Wyatt in their study says that 76% of the people who work for a firm believe their firm is involved in something illegal, immoral, or unethical. And that's pretty dramatic. And let me tell you a little story. One of my clients was promoted from a director position to a high leadership position in her company. It was a small company of about $3 million. And my job was to turn her into an effective company president. And after working with her for a while, she looked at me and she goes, Ron, when I was a director, I couldn't believe how stupid some of the decisions were that my management team made. And now I'm in that position where I have to make those decisions. I came to realize how much I really didn't know. And I think that's the essence of it. I think sometimes the decisions that are made from a perspective that people in the organization don't fully understand. Now, one of the outcomes of this problem is that only 34% of Americans believe others can be trusted. From my perspective, I believe Americans are very trustworthy. My belief is that this comes from the rapid and accelerated pace of change. I don't know if I can trust you because I don't know you. I don't know if I can trust you because I don't know what you know. I don't know that I can trust you because I don't know that you can deliver what you say you're going to deliver. And the lists go on and on and on. Now, why is that important? It's really simple. The rules have changed in business, and they've changed very quickly and very, very rapidly. In my marketing book, 49 Marketing Secrets That Work to Grow Sales, Terry Brock talks about the old rules of business. And the old rules are the 20th century rules, 1999 and prior. It was about money. It was about capital. It was about seniority roles. It was about how big you can get. And it was about primarily owning your production. It was traditional industry ruled. It was steel and rubber and all those typical manufacturing kinds of businesses. Since then, the rules have changed in a very powerful way. And the bottom line now, it's about results. It's about ideas. It's about how fast you can respond. It's about solving problems. And it's about having access to production. But what hasn't changed, and this is very important, is that principles matter most and relationships are critical. And what I mean by principles, I'm talking about working with somebody who is honest and somebody who's ethical and somebody that I can trust, somebody that understands my business well enough to know that they can bridge the gap between what they do and how that can help me. And then relationships are essential. People will buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And then the question becomes, how do you create that relationship where they know you, trust you, and like you? And the 6 questions are designed to start that process and give you enough weapons in your ammo, in your arsenal, to move the relationship along to a mutually beneficial relationship for both you and your customer. So let's talk a little bit about the implications of not understanding these new rules and how they work. The next study I want to quote comes from SCORE. And the most important part of this is that, according to this study, 78% of businesses fail because they don't have a well-developed business plan. And you'll notice that all these numbers don't add up to 100, and that's because what SCORE found out was that businesses fail not typically for one reason, but for multiple reasons. One is they don't know how to price. They're overly optimistic about sales and money. A big challenge is they don't recognize or they ignore what they don't do well, and they don't seek help. And part of the study suggested it's fear, it's shame, it's lack of knowledge, they don't know who to trust. But if we move down to near the bottom, the second from the bottom in red, minimizing the importance of marketing, many people go to college and they're not trained in marketing. They're not trained in sales. They're engineers, they're accountants, they're IT professionals. And they don't understand the value of marketing and why it's so important. And that's what we want to address with these 6 questions, is simplify the marketing process so that anybody can get started and understand it. So let's take a look at the 6 questions your prospects want you to answer before they buy. Or if we look at it the other way, this could be the 6 reasons they don't buy from you, or something in here might be a reason they don't buy from you. So let's look at it. What do you do? When I'm at a networking event and somebody comes up to me, for example, or if you're at a networking event and somebody comes up to you and asks you, what do you do? Most people respond by saying, I'm an accountant, I'm a financial planner, a business coach, a bookkeeper, or whatever it is. And what they do is they confuse what they do with how they do it. So if you're a business coach, for example, then you just told the individual not what you do, but how you do it. Or if you're an accountant, you just told them how you do things. I use standard accounting practices, or I use standard financial practices. And the list goes on. What they're really asking here, the heart of this question is, what is the outcome that I will experience when I work with you? Because that is the beginning of the selling process. The second question is, why should I care about that outcome? If we used, for example, a financial planner. You meet a financial planner at a networking event, and you ask them what they do, and the financial planner says, well, I'm a financial planner. Oh, well, so what? And you move on to the next person. If that same financial planner says, I build, protect, and transfer wealth, now that would pique my interest a little bit. I would want to know more. So when the financial planner says, I build, protect, and transfer wealth, what he's really saying is that I'm going to help you with your financial situation. He didn't say anything about being a financial planner. He just said, I build, protect, and transfer wealth. Now, why is that important? Well, it depends. It depends on what stage in life they're at. If they're younger and they're building their nest egg is one thing. If they're more established and they want to protect what they have, or if they're already established and moving on to their later years and they want to transfer that wealth either to a nonprofit or to their children, then the answer would be different to that question, why should I care? The next question is really an interesting one. It's, why are you the right and safe choice? And for those of you who know the Platinum Rule, you'll see the relationship here very strongly. The Platinum Rule says, treat others the way they want to be treated. And this question is really saying is, how do you make it safe for them? You'll know that that's a relator. The next part, how do you make them more productive or effective? That's a director. How do you make them right? That's a thinker. And how do you make them look good as a socializer? So people are going to buy from you for their own reasons and typically not for your own reasons. So when you're building your sales process, your sales strategy, your marketing strategy, you got to get really clear on who your ideal customer is, your ideal prospect, and create marketing copy, create your sales presentation to focus on them. This next question, number 4, what do you do better than anyone else in the world, can be a little bit daunting, but it's really not designed to be. What it's really, people buy from people they know, like, and trust, and they're buying from you. And what we're really saying is that there's something you do better than most anybody else in your industry. And what we want to do is figure that out. And it doesn't have to be hard. So, for example, if your competition is charging for shipping and you have an e-commerce site and you decide not to charge for shipping, that's a powerful differentiator. I love Amazon. I buy so much material through them, and I use their one-click program. So when I go to the Amazon website and I log in and I find what I want, I just hit one click. And it's created such a habit of going back there that I don't entertain other websites typically. You can look at Southwest Airline. Their whole sales and marketing campaign is around saving people money. Bags fly free. As you can see, we're not talking a lot about rocket scientists. In my own particular program, when I teach sales and I help companies grow sales, I have a strategy that says that if you do not make back what you invest with me, I'm going to write a check to cover the difference. It's 100% return on your investment guarantee. That's how strongly I believe that we can help you. Look at Ford. For many years, Ford was known as fix or repair daily. Now the Ford Fusion has one of the highest quality standards in the industry. I just bought my daughter a Ford Fusion when she moved to Washington, D.C., and I couldn't believe the quality standards that I saw from the Ford Fusion. They were incredible. And you can talk about Disney. If you've ever been to Disneyland, you have stories, you have memories. You can talk about your ride on Space Mountain or Epcot Center or anything that happens down in the Disney theme park. But they're focused on creating memories for you. And then lastly, we can talk about GM and OnStar. For the longest time, OnStar was a powerful differentiator for GM because if you were in a crisis or a safety situation, and they were the only one that had it. So now that we have a better idea of what you do better than anybody else in the world, the next question is, why is your uniqueness important to me? And this is where we start getting into a little more of the investment side of the house. We can talk about, will it make them more money? Will it give them more free time? Will it create more value for their company, or will it reduce risk? Or it will increase their productivity? And the best way to answer some of these questions, and we'll get into this in other videos as we go forward, is to call your existing clients if you have them and ask them, why did you hire me? And don't settle for because I'm a nice guy or whatever they say, but ask them, just say, thank you, I appreciate that, but what did you get out of it when you hired me? What was the real reason that you hired me? Or you can really state it as, what is the outcome that you experienced when you work with me? Because that's what you're selling. And then lastly, what they're going to ask you is, prove it. How do I know? If we go back to the essence of trust, a lot of sales reps have been known in the past of selling the opportunity and moving on to the next opportunity. And they don't typically have to deal with the problems that are somehow created. So many of the business owners that we deal with want to know, do you have the credentialing? Do you have the relationship? Have you gotten results for others? Have others endorsed you? But I really like the one, does it make sense? Do you have a track record? And what I mean by does it make sense, I kind of think of that as kitchen sink logic. Is the presentation so tight that they have no choice but to say yes or no? It should address all the objections. It should logically and very carefully take them through the 6 questions of what you do and why it's important to them and what your uniqueness is and why that uniqueness is important, why you're the right and safe choice, and then effectively prove it. If you do all that, the sales process will get very, very simple, but it requires you to understand your product not from your perspective, but from your customer's perspective. Now, that's an overview of the 6 questions and why they're important. The next video, we're going to talk in detail about what you do and what that really means, and then we're going to review a little bit of some of the impact of not doing this as well. So thank you very much, and I look forward to talking with you on the next video.